What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of the Celebrity Junk. As you brothers know, Joy Reid from MSNBC will be let go at the end of this week. Of course, she has been a liberal pundit over there at MSNBC for many years. I believe she's Congolese and half Guyanan, something like that. And, you know, hey, the ratings have been down, and they have, you know, new leadership in the company, a new president and things like that. So, you know, it's just been really tough on the lady. And of course, I've seen so many brothers criticizing her. I've seen brothers criticizing what she looks like, you know, calling her all kind of names and sellouts. And I mean, I can understand the frustrations that so many black men have towards Joy Reid and the liberal left. But I think for me, it's imperative for us to stay away from that kind of commentary, simply because it has no real bearing on what her issue is, okay? So I know brothers may feel a certain way about her, but I think that, you know, as far as some of the comments that I was seeing, man, she was just getting roasted up. And I don't think that it's really necessary because, hey, she's not going to be there anymore. But she has responded in an emotional way as to what has happened.
My show had value, and that, I'm sorry, that what I was doing had value. And in the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV. And I think this is kind of like me on TV, so I apologize. And that it mattered. I see Karen is there, and she's been texting me as well. And so what I will just say is that in the end, thank you. Where I land is that the moment of guilt that I felt, that I went hard on so many issues, whether it was the Black Lives Matter issues of a young baby or a mom or a dad that was killed, or when we opened up people's eyes to the fact that Asian Americans were being targeted and not just Black folks, or went hard for immigrants who've done nothing but come to this country like my parents did and try to make a life and defended them, or whether we've talked about what the president is doing that is subversive to the Constitution, that is injurious to our liberty, you know, defending books that people find inconvenient, you know, that Nicole Hannah-Jones put into our spirit, that we need to understand 1619 as the real founding of this country, whether it's talking about any of these issues. And yes, whether it's talking about Gaza and the fact that we as the American people have a right to object, to little babies being bombed. And where I come down on that is I'm not sorry. I am not sorry that I stood up for those things, because those things are of God. And you know, I'm a church girl too, and those are the things that I was taught were of God. And so I'm not sorry. I'm just proud.
This is important for me to talk about this because she basically said that I thought my show was valuable. I was doing the work of God toward the end of that clip. And I kind of want to get on to, you know, some of the emotionalism that she had as far as her value and this and that. And, you know, a lot of times the things that we think that we are doing, we believe that what we're doing is valuable. I think everybody who's doing something in the world believes that they are doing something valuable. You know, you ask anybody, are you a valuable person? Sure, I'm valuable to X, Y, and Z. I think the question is, how valuable are you in comparison to somebody else? Okay? How valuable are you in comparison to somebody else in the same industry, such that somebody would want to choose you over somebody else? And here is where I believe Democrats, liberals get it wrong. When it comes to being competitive, offering a voting base something, offering the Black community something, they want to give value in which they perceive it as to what you should receive. You should get value because what I'm doing for you is worth enough. And the reason why it's worth it to them is because they get paid to do almost nothing. Let me just give you what I think you should have. And then what happens is those situations get lost in translation. So while you feel like you're giving value, really in comparisons to what somebody else is doing, like in Fox News for, that case, it's more exciting. Now, let me just tell you this. My dad is a big time liberal, okay? But he admitted something to me one day. He said, I watch Fox News every night. I said, why? He said, because I love to hate them. So I watch them. So, because MSNBC, he already knows what they're going to say. But he hates Fox News so much that he watches them. And so Joy Reid never listened to anybody as to how can your show be better? How can your show be more balanced or whatever the case may yield? Joy Reid simply just didn't care about that. So when your ratings are down 53% because you don't want to change, and the same thing happened to Don Lemon, well, then what happens? Well, ultimately, you get replaced, okay? And that's basically how the cookie crumbles there, okay? The reality is, Joy, if you were valuable, you wouldn't be getting canceled. You might be valuable to a few people, but you're not valuable to your network. And you just found out while you were hating on Trump and hating on Republicans and hating on conservatives that the people that are letting you go are the people you're standing up for because you're not valuable to them. So if you're not valuable to Republicans, we understand that. But not being valuable to the liberal Democratic machine, you're not valuable to them. That's important. That's really important. And that is obviously very terrible. And I think that we need to take a lesson from this and whatever that we do, because, business, relationships, all of that, it's not about what we feel we ought to give somebody. And a lot of times we can get, that's lost in translation. You can be valuable at a certain time and then things might change where you might have to go back and re-examine yourself and update yourself and then come back in a different way. I'll give Drake credit. He does that all the time. Look at Diddy before he got locked up. Diddy was a person that you always saw him reinventing himself somehow, some way to make himself feel relevant. And Joy Reid was not producing content that anybody wanted to hear or see or watch. Then you typically have an attitude with somebody like that because now, woe is me. I thought I was creating value. I thought I was doing this and I thought I was doing that. And then let me end with this. You are much better off, honey, to be honest, much better off starting your own stuff. See, I noticed that so many people talking about they're doing godly stuff, and we already know that Joy Reid is probably very down with, the LGBTQ, and, while you're saying you're doing things that are God, well, we already know what the scripture says about certain things that Democrats support. We'll leave that alone, okay? But we do want to discuss that your ratings being 53% down for a long time, that is indicative that you have been sucking for a while. And it's indicative that if that was the case for the people who really like you, why don't you go out on your own? For those people that find value in you, go out on your own. And you never see a lot of these people who say they're pro-blacks, they love the black community, but they don't trust the black community to make a living. They see a lot of these people do not trust black people. They're pro-black with white money. Van Jones, Don Lemon, if they have to go out there and get out the mud in black America, they're not gonna do that. They can't do that because they don't trust black people to pay them. Because if you had an opportunity to do it, won't you do it? Pro-blacks, or so-called pro-blacks, have to do that in such a way, and once they do it, pro-blacks will do anything they can, basically, to be next to white folks and talk about black issues. Talk about black issues if you're gonna be in the black community to black people. This is what I'm talking about. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again. Another episode of The Celebrity Drunk. Appreciate you for all you just heard the bell. We're out.